Hey, you guys, and welcome to American Culture. So, today we are in Mark chapter 5, still in the Gospels, where Jesus raises a dead girl and heals a sick woman. The other day we went over the story of the 10 virgins, how 5 of them were wise and the other 5 weren't. But really, what that was about was that the oil was faith and the light is your salvation, and it's your faith that's going to lead to salvation. You can't get that from anybody else. And also, knowing God's character, the foolish ones really just needed to stay put. It was all of those worldly ideas that they even needed more oil and more light to begin with. God simply wanted them to meet the guy there, and that would have been enough. And so we get to the story about how Jesus raises a dead girl and heals a sick woman. Now, these are 2 different things that are happening inside of the same story, and I'm going to go ahead and take you to the end first so that it helps you to follow along. This is the story of your life when you come to an awakening. It starts off as, God, this isn't working. Father, come and meet me. And then you and Jesus start this walk together to the source of your problems. And so I'm going to read this to you and then break that down. Jesus raises a dead girl and heals a sick woman. Verse 21, chapter 5 of Mark. When Jesus had crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd had gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet, pleaded earnestly with him, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and leave." So Jesus went with him. This is a father who's saying, listen, my daughter is dying. Please come and help me. And some of our spiritual awakenings started off with knowing God talking to us. This is not how you need to be. This is not, we had that voice come in. Even before we knew the Lord, we had that voice come in and say, this ain't it. And it started our walk with Jesus. Now it says, a large crowd followed him and pressed around him. And when a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, she had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and she had spent. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak because she thought, if I touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately her bleeding stopped and she felt in her body that she was freed from suffering. And so on this journey, while Jesus has gone with the leader of the synagogue to his daughter because she needs him, he stopped. And this miraculous thing of healing takes place simply because of the woman with the bleeding disorder had faith. Haven't you been to those situations? You may not recognize it, but you've tried all of the earthly, worldly things to make yourself better, to feel loved, to feel cared for, to stop the bleeding pain, and it hasn't worked. But there was something that you were so faithful about, and just getting in touch with God, getting in touch with Jesus, healing occurred. That's great. That's lovely. But hey, here's the thing. We don't get to stop there. Because Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it, and the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came to his feet trembling with fear and told him the whole truth. He said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Now go in peace and be freed from your suffering. While Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus and the synagogue leader. Your daughter is dead, they said. Why bother to teach her anymore? And so what happens is, again, this great faith, this miracle, this healing took place because of faith, and without even getting to enjoy it, almost not even recognizing that this is a part of the process. We're back to the reality of the suffering that started all of this to begin with. And how isn't it the same way with you? You get a raise at work. Oh, I got a little bit of extra bonus money. Your car breaks down. You immediately experience this healing, this glory, something you've been wanting for, and then back to the reality. Suffering is at hand. So overhearing Jesus told them, don't be afraid, just believe. He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. And when they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep. And they laughed at him. See, the reason why he says, don't be afraid, just believe, is because what Jesus has walked back into is that oftentimes we have these great moments of faith. Great things happen, and then guess what happens? I'm back into a situation that's causing me to doubt. I'm back into a situation that's overwhelming. And God, I can't do this. And so all these people are around in the house. They obviously are there to support that. And you have people in your life, including yourself, who know how to support the death of a situation, but they don't know how to support life. those people that gossip with you, the ones you only see if you got to go get something to drink, that guy that only comes over whenever you call him because you're feeling a little lonely. All that is no different than the people who are mourning this dead girl. They think that she's dead. They've shown up to support death. But what about if she was alive? And so they laughed at Jesus when he said, this isn't a dead situation. There's actual life here. And there are lots of times in your life where people have supported you, at that job that pays you $10 an hour. But the moment you say, hey, I'm going to go back to school to do this, they laugh at you. They scoff. They support you being a nurse, like in my situation. But the moment I say, I really want to just talk about Jesus, that's funny. Good luck with that. And so he put all of them out. And that's what's going to happen with you. You're going to have to put out all of the things and all of the people that purely support death in your life. And he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him in there where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, Talitha cum, which means little girl, to you I say, get up. Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. Now notice the number 12 keeps on popping up, 12 loaves of bread left over. This girl is 12 years old. The woman had bled for 12 years. There's a 12, that matters, but we'll get into that in a different video, not this one. All of this matters, but it's interesting to see the connections. Anyway, it says that they were astonished. He gave strict orders to not let anyone know about this and told him to give her something to eat. And so what's happening in your life is that you go through these awakening processes as well. Mine is a big one where I awoke to who I was, who God said I was. And I started saying, why don't I just do what I want to do? It's ridiculed or it's loved either way. So let me just focus on that. And so with my awakening, I realized I have experienced great blessings, but I haven't given any real congratulations or linkage to them. Because almost immediately back into a situation where I can question my own faith. I can doubt. I can act like I don't believe. And I have to ask myself, am I surrounding me with things and people that support death, that support me being in a position that isn't going to give me life? Do they even believe that life is in me? Like I said, when I started telling people, I think I'm supposed to just go out there and talk about Jesus. You'd be surprised how many people were like, that's stupid. And so you do have to put all of those people, all those naysayers to the side, and then tell yourself, wake up. And you'll see that wake up theme as we go further into understanding Mark. What I love about this is you're realizing that faith brings salvation, and waking up is what tells you who you are. You have to have enough faith to save yourself, but it's the waking up that would allow you to live the way that God wants you to live. And right after this little girl woke up, he said, go give her something to eat, which meant feed her. She's awake. She's not asleep anymore. Feed her correct knowledge. And so for me, I'm definitely at this point, you guys, where I can now see how cry out to the Lord started this journey where me and him were walking together. And it wasn't a God meet me here and make my life wonderful. No, this is a walk. This is me knowing that I am going to some place of healing and Jesus walking along with that. Just like in this story, we're not waiting for him to show up. We're walking with him as he goes to the source of our problems. I definitely know now to pay more attention to what great faith brings, that there are some things that I need healing, and I'm going to have to be faithful to that. But there are also other things where I'm going to have to challenge my unbelief and doubt because I'm still asleep to who I am and who God is and his true character and what that means for my life. So today, you guys, I hope that kind of helps break that particular little story down. Like I said, I've been going over the stories leading up to the resurrection ever since I realized that Capernaum means skull. And I'm thinking, if the tomb is empty, anything is possible. So what you mean is take out what's already in my mind and then anything becomes possible. Whoa. So I'm having a lot of little epiphanies and as I say, going along. But hope that you enjoyed that. Have a blessed day, you guys. This is my first time without a mirror behind there, without me looking at the camera. So just being able to go with it. And I think that it worked out a lot better. Again, we're in the beginning stages of Alicia, just figuring out what works for Alicia and going from there. Because it's got to work for you if you're ever going to be consistent, you guys. Have a blessed day. Bye.